What's up, guys? Welcome back to ManCave Collectibles. Coming at you today with another figure review. Today we're doing things a little bit different. We're actually starting off here at our table and then we're going to make our way over to our review spot. And what we're going to do is something really neat. It's something that I've been looking forward to. At the same time, I'm a little bit nervous because it's something I've never done before. We're going to be taking a vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Krang figure and open it from its package. Now, one of the cool things is this figure was given to the channel by our friend Cotton over at Retro Toys and Collectibles in Cherryville, North Carolina. If you're not familiar with those guys, you want to go and check out one of my most recent toy hunts where we went over to Retro Collectibles and Toys in Cherryville and checked out what they had in the store. It is an amazing store for retro, modern, vintage. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. They've got a little bit of everything. So we always enjoy going and hitting those guys up. And we'll continue to hunt them periodically as they continuously have, new inventory hitting. He did give this to me with one condition. The condition was that we take this guy off card and we do a figure review of him. This is not a mint condition figure on card here, so you can rest easy in knowing that. I know there's going to be a lot of mixed emotions as far as opening up a figure from 1988 is the copyright on this guy. That's when he was issued by Playmates Toys. We got some yellowing here on the blister card packaging, but really probably the most detrimental thing to this figure, and one of the reasons that we're going to go ahead and open it up, is Krang has a lot of cloudiness over the clear plastic bubble that he sits in. So we're going to try to do what we can to maybe clean that up once we get him off package. We're also going to do a little bit of comparison with this guy to the NECA Krang that comes in his life support system robot here that he originally was released in. So I think this will be a cool little video. You guys can drop comments down below at what you think. I know there's a lot of guys who are on card collectors or in package collectors. This is probably going to provide a lot of anxiety to you guys, so I do apologize up front for that if it does. You can drop those comments down below. But again, I think if this was a mint on card and we didn't have that nasty yellowing and film that has really developed over the top of that fishbowl, I don't think we would probably be opening this one. But again, thanks to our friends over at Retro Toys and Collectibles. I'll have their information in the description of this video so you can check them out. But again, if you kind of want to see what they have, go check it out in our toy hunt video. And hit Cotton up if you see something that you're interested in, or go out and check the store out for yourself. Let's go ahead. We're going to move over to our review table. Go ahead and crack this guy off his packaging and see what we got. Okay, guys, so we got Krang moved over to our table, and here it is. Now is the time that we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a close look here at our packaging, but we're also getting ready to crack this guy out of packaging. And this is, again, this is an exciting moment and a little bit of a nervous moment for me, as it has probably been since the early 90s that I have pulled a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure from Playmates off the card. Now, one thing we'll take a look at up close here is you do kind of see the cloudiness and just we're not real sure what happened with the fishbowl here that Krang has on his mobile life support system. It really is just dirty and very cloudy. It really looks bad. So we're going to try to clean that up here in this video and see if that's something we can do. But that's really our reasoning for going ahead and taking this guy off card, is just to try to fix that. Now, looking at the card itself, card is amazing. These card backs from the late 80s have such a nostalgic value for me. I can remember going into Walmart with my parents, my grandparents, whoever was taking me and spoiling me at the time to pick me up the next Ninja Turtle figure from my collection, and being able to pick these things off the peg. They were just phenomenally done. The artwork is just has a lot of meaning to me. We got our Playmates logoing down here at the bottom. Got some nice artwork of Krang in his mobile life support system there. Moving on around to the back. This is where it really gets fun. Up top here, we actually have a little bit of the story of the turtles. So it says up here, the evolution of the turtles. A boy's bowl of pet turtles fall into the stench of an underground city sewer. They land on Splinter, a penniless but powerful ninja master who lives in the muck. And you can see there, we do have kind of an image there of Splinter, turtles falling down. And then it continues on. Splinter's enemy, Shredder, leader of the Evil Foot Clan, pours a disgusting green ooze over Splinter, hoping to zap him dead. Instead, The turtle pets mutate into turtle teens, and Splinter turns into the biggest rat ever to face a trap. And then it goes on to talk about Splinter teaching the turtles the ways of the ninja. They form a kick-stomping fighting team on the side of good against the deadly Foot Clan. It says also here, if you maybe if you had the actual retro mutagen ooze from back in the day, it's got a little advertisement there for those. And then it talks about some of the figures that were out at that time. So you've got your 4 Turtles, Splinter, Ace Duck, Genghis Frog, April O'Neil. These are all very familiar to us, as NECA has done pre-orders on Ace Duck. We've just did a review on the new NECA Genghis Frog figures. And then on the side of the Foot Clan over here, we've got Baxter, Rocksteady, Foot Soldier, Krang, Bebop, and Shredder. Really the face of the Foot Clan on this side. We do have a little breakdown here of what we're actually going to get in our packaging. And then down below, you had the clip and connect bios on each of these figures. So a lot of us as kids would cut these out and keep them. It talked a lot about who we actually have just picked up at our local toy store or Walmart. And it is kind of funny here on the bio of Krang. It says that his weight is 17 pounds soaking wet. So it's kind of funny that they actually added that in. Probably being what Turtles was at the time, always the guys to kind of throw a little bit of comedy or something to make you laugh into it. And then over here you do have the Save One Pizza Point proof of purchase that you could also cut out on the right side. Guys, it is time. Let's go ahead and break this guy off his card and see what we got inside. All right, guys, so here we have Krang out of his packaging. We have destroyed his original packaging. I thought this was pretty neat here. This was, probably originally purchased maybe from Lionel, $3.49. We know what these now go for in today's times. And then we have our little clamshell packaging here that he was held in. So we got Krang here in front of us, and there was a little bit of a sticky film on, kind of has a little bit of a sticky feel to some of the plastic inside of the packaging there. You can see real well here just how dirty and cloudy this fishbowl effect is on Krang. So I'm gonna take this off camera, and we're gonna try to just take some really hot water and try to clean this up some and see if that will clear up. I know there's also, I have a friend who does some restoration of toys, and he said there is some options out there, things like kind of what you would use on your car headlights to kind of clear those up. You can also use that on your toys in a very controlled fashion. I am not a professional at that, so absolutely do not put any chemicals on your vintage toys without seeking the advice of a professional. For me personally, because I'm not a professional, we're going to stick to warm water and see what that will do as far as this right here is concerned. Now, as far as the accessories that we get with that, we do get Krang's gun here, which is just molded in gray plastic. So it does have some detail to it, some sculpting detail, which looks really nice. There is no paint apps involved in this at all. He also has his 2 arms here, which are sculpted gray plastic as well. And then one of the tubes that will help support his life system. And this is one of the ones as well that just has a little bit of a sticky feel to it. So it's just kind of odd if just over time, this may have been a figure that was left in the heat. It could have been put in an attic for storage. We don't really know the story behind a lot of our vintage figures. You find them at yard sales or flea markets, or somebody just walks into a toy store and says, hey, I want to unload this collection. I've had it sitting around in a closet, for 20 years. So we don't know the true story. It would be neat if we could ever learn the true story of a lot of these vintage toys and where this Krang has been for the last 30 years. That would be neat things to know, but we don't. So we just have to enjoy them without really knowing their history. Now, we will go ahead and take just a quick look at Krang here so we can see he's in his mobile support system here, life support system. This is purple molded plastic down here. We do have articulation there at his knees, a very nice articulation, almost has a ratchet joint feel to it, so you're able to really move and manipulate that. We've got almost like a ratchet effect here, kind of at what we would probably consider kind of the upper thigh, but it's not a thigh, obviously, as you know, he's sitting in a mobile support system. But you really only have two movements you can do there, one up and one back. So you can move it up if you want, but it's going to make it hard for him to stand because that's going to leave him kind of back heavy. So there's really only one option, which is the straight down effect, and then he will stand, he will stand perfectly fine there. You just have to slightly lean it forward like so. Now this will open and our Krang figure will come out. I'll take a close look at it. This guy looks phenomenal to be 30 years old from a sculpting standpoint. They've got some nice blues painted in there for those veins. And the rest of him appears to just be pink sculpted plastic. Yellow paint for the eyes, white paint for the teeth, all done really well. This guy has really held up very well over the last 30 years. He does also have kind of that slight sticky feel to his paint as well. And then he just sits inside. There's really no peg hole or anything that's holding him in place. He does have a big hollow peg hole there, but there's really no need for it. This just comes down over, and then he has little windows there in his fishbowl for those little arms or tentacles to stick out. A little bit of paint here on the side in red. Rest of this is just sculpted in gray. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of his accessories and how they would fit on. So for his hands, if we wanted to use these hands, he does have some peg holes there at the top of the forearm. And then there's a peg here on his life support system. These will just peg right in to those pegs, just like that. So that looks really nice. They go on very securely. And then on this side, all right, so those just go on very nice and very secure. You can see the hands are there. It's going to give you basically just a range of motion of up and down. No real side to side or anything on these. They're a little bit tough to get on. You can see it even kind of made an imprint into my finger there as we tried to push those on. But what just a nostalgic piece here, having Krang. Now we do have his gun, which we can place in one of his hands there if you would like. One neat thing, and I don't know if you guys have seen the new Super 7 figure. We're going to compare this to the NECA figure because that's all we have right now. But Super 7 has recently put up for pre-order their Wave 5 of their TMNT Ultimates line, and we are getting Krang in his mobile life support system. So I'll throw up an image here so you guys can kind of see what that's going to look like. But if you're not collecting the Super 7 stuff, you definitely need to check that out. You can do your pre-orders over at Big Bad Toy Store. Head over to Big Bad Toy Store for all your toy needs, whether it's Hasbro, Mafex, Hot Toys, and all the other major brands. They've got it along with $4 flat rate shipping. Click the link in the description to see what BBTS can do to fill that need you have in your collection. There's also a link in my description if you're interested in that. You can go over to Big Bad Toy Store and take a look at them, check them out, and if you want to, you can pre-order them from there. Now, the last thing we have here is part of his support system or his tie-in to his gun. So what you have here is you have just a kind of a blunt point at this end, and then you have a peg hole at this end. So what you got is there's a hole right in the bottom of his life support system there. We're going to slip this up into that, just like that. And then this comes around and actually connects to his gun there, just like that. So that's what you've got. That is all the accessories there attached onto our Krang figure. So I really like this. I do collect vintage Ninja Turtles loose. I enjoy having them loose. I have some mint on card as well, but this guy's going to be phenomenal here in my Ninja Turtles vintage collection. Now what I want to go ahead and do now, before we'll do some comparisons here in a few with the NECA Krang figure. But let's go ahead. I'm going to take this guy off camera. We're going to dip him in some hot water, see if we can kind of clear up some of that sticky feel, as well as see if we have any luck clearing up the fishbowl over his head. We'll be right back. All right, guys, just as I had hoped for, I wasn't certain that we were going to be able to get that cleaned up just with hot water, but we did. Basically what I did, there's really nothing scientific or professional to it. I took a coffee cup, I filled it with hot water, I put it in the microwave for about 50 seconds, And then I just took this guy and dipped him in the hot water for about 20 seconds, took him out and wiped him down completely. And you can see we basically restored him to his original purpose look. Here you can see here the fishbowl that was so nasty and grimy has just really been cleared up. Now, it's not perfectly clear. We're still talking about a 30-year-old figure here, but it looks 10 times better and was really kind of what we hoped would happen here if we took him out of the packaging and tried to clean him up. So we went ahead and did that. We also got kind of the sticky residue that was kind of all over a lot of this plastic. It is now gone. So the hot water was able to help with that as well. So I'm very pleased with my new Krang figure here. Really going to be happy to add him to my shelf. Now let's move this guy back here. We're going to just take a quick look at the NECA Krang figure. So you can see here, they're right about the same size. From a height standpoint, is very similar. Now, NECA's figures are based on the cartoon. They're not based on Playmates toy line like Super 7's TMNT line is. Again, we don't have that figure yet. It just went up for pre-order. Maybe we will take a look at all of these compared once we have all three in hand. So just from a size standpoint, as we always do, our Krang figures are standing right just above 4 inches tall to the top of the life support system. Kind of give you guys a little bit of a size comparison. So this is a Leonardo from the vintage line here. You can see that he stacks up very well from a size standpoint. However, this Krang could very easily stand in with your NECA figures as well if you're able to get your hands on one, and we're not able to get your hands on the original NECA release. It really doesn't look bad at all. The size is basically the same, virtually the same. The Krang's around the same size. They just have a little bit of a different look to them. NECA's slight more detail than what the original Playmates line did. Anyways, that will wrap up our video for today, guys. You can drop comments down below. I'm sure there will be mixed emotions about opening a vintage figure off of the card. However, this one did have some flaws that really made it somewhat of an eyesore in its packaging. So we felt good about going ahead and opening this guy and seeing if we could restore him back to really the way he was intended to look. And he will be very nicely displayed on my shelf for the foreseeable future. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Helps get this video out there for other people to be able to see. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as part of the ManCave Collectibles team. As I said before, thanks to Retro Toys and Collectibles in Cherryville, North Carolina for being willing to allow ManCave Collectible Reviews to pull this Krang off card. It was definitely a nostalgic feeling. It took me right back to the 90s when I was a kid, yanking these off card about every week as I could convince my parents to get me to a toy store to pick one up. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time.